You know that your loved one with a developmental or intellectual disability will not live with you forever, but the idea of them moving out can feel terrifying or can even feel impossible. I want you to know that feeling, that's normal. This is one of the hardest transitions for families to even start thinking about, let alone plan for. But here's the good news. You can start preparing now in ways that feel manageable and supportive for both you and your loved one with a disability. And when you start early, when you start taking small steps and you include your loved one along the way, this eventual move to your loved one having a home of their own doesn't just become possible. It can actually become something that your loved one and you look forward to. So let me share 4 ways to start preparing now so that when the time comes, you're both ready. So the first thing I want you to start to think about is starting early and building home routines. Leaving home doesn't begin with a moving truck. It starts with learning how to brush your teeth, making simple meals, taking out the trash, for example. These small daily or weekly routines build capability and confidence. So focus on what your loved one can practice right now. Some other examples could be things like clearing and setting the table or washing the dishes. It could include locking the door at night, learning how to do grocery shopping and meal planning. All of these things help your loved one to build more capability, build more confidence, and this builds not only their confidence, but your confidence that one day it's possible for them to have a home of their own. The second preparation strategy I want to give you is creating space that's your loved ones at home. So this could be a corner of the house. It could be their own specific additional room. It could be a basement apartment. Just a space that helps your loved one feel like it's their own, that they are fully responsible. This helps to shift the energy and the mindset in your home that this is just your loved one who is a child living in the family home to your loved one being an adult preparing for their own home, having responsibility over that space and being able to develop more capability and more independence in that space, taking ownership of it. The third tip I want to provide you is discussing home options that match your loved one's needs and personality. So there's no one size fits all solution when it comes to home or housing. Some people want to live alone with support coming in. Some people prefer to live with other people, and it could be a supportive roommate, for example. Other people need more supports. It could even be up to full-time support. Some people just need a few hours per week. The key is thinking about what's right for your loved one, what's going to fit your loved one perfectly, not just what's available. This is where you want to start having conversations with your loved one and help them envision what could be possible. This might even include walking around neighborhoods to help your loved one understand the different types of homes. It could be visiting a friend who lives in an apartment to see how they live. It could be talking to friends and family about what their first home looked like. And all of this will help your loved one imagine a life that's possible for them beyond the family home before it ever happens. You can also have conversations about what worries your loved one, what excites them about the possibility of having their own home. You can even try out some temporary arrangements like house sitting for a week if a friend or family member is away, or having an Airbnb rental to test out what living a bit more independently could look like. And you don't have to decide everything right now. It just starts opening up the possibilities and seeing what could be possible and starting the conversation. Tip number 4 is helping your loved one experience being alone more. So living outside the family home means your loved one spending more time without a parent or a caregiver always being close by. And that can feel uncomfortable both for you and your loved one with a disability. So the goal here isn't to rush independence or your loved one spending more time alone, but to gradually increase comfort in the amount of time being spent alone. So if your loved one's never alone, start small. Maybe that's 10 minutes alone in the house while you do some gardening, or you spend some time in the backyard. Maybe it's a solo movie night for your loved one in the basement while you're upstairs or the rest of the family's upstairs. It could even be practicing what to do if your loved one's home and the doorbell rings or someone calls. What do you do in that situation? And when you practice these things, it builds confidence and it builds trust, both trust for your loved one and the trust that you have in your loved one. And over time, these moments help your loved one to feel safe and capable on their own, and you start to see what's possible for your loved one. So if you're starting to think about life beyond the family home, so I hope these 4 tips help you start to think about getting started to support your loved one to build skills that will be helpful for them for life beyond the family home. Yes, your loved one having a home of their own is a big step, but it becomes more manageable when you start early, when you focus on what your loved one can do while you're starting to take small steps towards that home of their own for your loved one. So if you want more help with this, I invite you to download my free Life Planning 101 guide, and you can get that down below. Just click on the link, and it'll help you start mapping out your loved one's future and help you start thinking about the best home for your loved one, help you get more clarity and more confidence on the best life and future for your loved one. Remember, you don't have to have it all figured out today, but if you take steps now to prepare your loved one for the future and to eventually have a home of their own, you're going to be way better off. I'm Eric Gall. Together, let's take a small step forward.